And I hear you.
Thank you, Mr. President. For 17 and a half years as a member of this august chamber, I have subjected to many accusations, particularly being a representative of the functional constituencies. In this chamber, during the last 2 days, members from the anti-establishment, I wouldn't call them opposition, have been accusing the FC members of evils, of obstructing progress. That I can take it, because the reason is they have a political purpose. They call us 零票議員. I can accept that too, because between 0 and 100% is just a number. At 10 in, becomes 100%. If they have gathered tens of thousands of votes, they have not gathered all the votes for those FCs who have come in uncontested. They have the faith, trust of those people who represent it. I can accept all their accusations and all their allegations, but I could not accept when the Cardinal of Hong Kong, an ex-Cardinal of Hong Kong, Cardinal Sin, which I didn't hear him say that, but over the news, he was Cardinal Chen. He was saying that something like this being reported, that the problem with the chamber is because we do have the FC. Religion is above politics, Mr. Chairman. And I am also a Catholic, believing, following the rules of God and the Church. For a cardinal who said this, I cannot agree, and I could not follow his logic. And I quote to him from the Bible, Mark 2:13 to 17. Render to Caesar what is Caesar, and render to God what is God. This is what has been said in this particular verse by Jesus Christ. So I urge Cardinal Chen not to say any things that beyond his religious role. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of course, he has the right to say it, but not say it as an ex-Cardinal of Hong Kong. Mr. Chairman, now I go into my debates. Democracy is one thing that we all believe in. It is prescribed in the basic law. That's why we have one country, two systems. Democracy is guaranteed, but the question is when and how, as has been debated over the years. If democracy is what it is and what we are chasing for, just look at this chamber. We are not following the rules of what democracy should be, what the principle of democracy should be. Think of all these slurs, slanders, insulting words, personal insults. This is not democracy. This is no different from a group of uneducated and radicals and fascists statements. If we believe in democracy, then we should follow the practice and ensure that democracy is well thought of. I like to borrow the words from a very famous Greek philosopher. His name is Socrates. This is what he said: democracy destroys itself because it abuses its right to freedom and equality, because it teaches its citizens to consider audacity as a right, lawlessness as a freedom, abrasive speech as equality, and anarchy as progress. This is exactly what he said many thousands of years ago. And today we are witnessing this exact element here in this chamber, Mr. President. I urge my colleagues, preach what you believe and act what you preach. Do not cause disruption. Do not cause uneasy feelings among your followers, which there are plenty. I know you have the majority of the votes in the election. But in here, you do not have the majority. Don't use tyranny of the minority to control what is the majority in here. I know that what is tyranny of the minority and the dictatorship of the majority, but this is the balance that what we are looking for, the balance. And for this reason, the balance that we are looking for, that is the reason why my honorable colleague, Martin Liu, have spoken so well about the need for this chamber, for a survival of this chamber, legislative council, to continue to survive and to sustain our reputation, to change and amend the rules that have not been, well, the rules are nothing wrong with the rules, but the people have abused the rules so much so that it's not working. We are not performing our duties, Mr. President, as prescribed under Article 73. Ask ourselves, have we done that? I use a case, an example for this. In 2013, when we passed, in the FC, we passed only $3.16 billion instead of a budgeted amount of over $60 billion of what it is. It's a shame because we are holding back employment of many people who have supported you, us all in this chamber. We have delayed the economic progress of Hong Kong. This is what the whole basis of the whole chamber is not working. There's nothing wrong with the procedures. What are the procedures? Rules of procedures. Very simple. It gives us the parameters of how we conduct ourselves in meetings and in the chamber. But rules of procedures have guiding principles. The guiding principles we must debate, discuss, consider, weight issues, and then vote and let the majority win. This is what democracy is about. But the other principle of the rule of procedure, Mr. President, is members who have voted in the majority have to ensure that the minority members are being looked after, that they have a chance to voice their difference, that their voices to be heard. This is what democracy is all about. This is all rules of procedure. But the rules of procedures are being, as I said earlier, abused to the point that it is a stalemate. The whole council is a standstill. We are no longer honorable. We are working towards a dishonorable state. We have every month we are paid to do our job. It's not money. We have the mandate from whoever put us in. We are failing them. And there is a need for this change. Yes, many arguments have been given by the opposition, apart from the slurs, slanders, personal insults. It's very high-quality argument, particularly from your good self, Alvin. There's been talk about, you have quoted Margaret Ng's comment on procedures and principles. That principles always ahead of procedures. Expediency and principles. Principles always comes first. This is exactly what Thomas Jefferson, the American president, said. When it comes to the political expediency or procedural expediency and political principles always prevail. And when we work out this the amendments and resolutions which is being tabled, I can assure you, I lend my ears to my establishment colleagues. I also have lent my support. I went through the test whether are we going in for political expediency, procedural expediency, or are we having disregard that procedural justice or procedural or political policies? I weighted each and every one of those principles. Have we deprived the opposition members or anti-establishment members the right to speak? No, we haven't. Have we forbid them to present resolutions and things? No, we haven't. What we have done so far, as highlighted by Tommy and by my Honourable Martin that we are putting expediency ahead of confusion. We are putting expediency for the sake of Hong Kong progress. We are putting expediency to salvage this very reputation of what our forefathers have earned for us, being honourable. So are we all honourable men. And for this, there is a need for this resolution. You think that we are making history now, that never in the history of Westminsterian type of parliament, of which we are, that has such a massive scale of resolutions, amendments to its rules of procedure. We are making history. We are not proud of it. We should be ashamed of ourselves that we have to make such amendment. But as I said earlier, it's a necessity. We have the courage to do what is right, to take a step in history and make a precedent to salvage an institution that everybody has built over the years. This is what is the significance of today's amendments. Rightly so, you have mentioned a number of cases. I addressed you about the expediency in political principle. I can vouch that each and every one of us here, will fight for the right of speech. As Voltaire said, we might disapprove what you people said, but we fight to our death to give you the right to speak. I'm sure that each and every one of us here believe in that. Or else we could have changed the amendments to the extent that we don't give you a chance even to speak. That is not what we want to. We want to make this a situation when everybody have that right, for you and for us. Secondly, you talk about my president, our president, which you people don't even have the courtesy to stand up and acknowledge him in that chair, not Andrew Leung, but in that chair as president of this chamber. This is unacceptable. But who gave him that authority? Did he observe that? Did he give that authority to himself? No. The authority was given to him in the rules of procedures. And as my honourable colleague Chan Hak-kan said, we defined that position. Not that he doesn't have a right to use his discretion. Every member have a right to use his discretion, to use it rightly and squarely and fairly. This is what he has done. Yesterday, member of your side talked about an English precedent of bias and in terms of the recent case that he should not sit there or stare legion. But his position, apart from what is in the basic law, in the rules of procedures, it is also in the judgment of our Court of Final Appeal, our appeal. I do not want to read it here because my time is limited. But I can say to you, whoever sits there is the master of procedures. The procedures are all agreed by all of us. Being a master of procedure is not that he has absolute power as you people believe in. His power comes from all of us. He is the master of procedure, but he is subject to natural justice. What is natural justice? The natural justice of fairness, impartiality, and independency, that he has to ensure that we are functioning well. We do have a reputation. We do have work to do. Mr. President, I acknowledge your judgment, and I acknowledge that what you have done, not just because you're a member of BPA, but as the president of this chamber, you have done the right thing. Don't go away yet. Listen to me. See, because that is freedom of speech, and he wouldn't listen, but he is exercising his discretion. Mr. Chairman, I urge each and every member, think not of politics, think of principles, expediency. Both are important, but I can assure you, none of us on this side has sacrificed principles for the sake of expediency. What is lacking from your side is trust. And what is also lacking from this side is trust. We should start from now on to build mutual trust and let us work for the well-being of Hong Kong. Thank you.